Okay, I'm going to do the same idea I did with the ionic um, naming. And just to show you, I don't want to say that these can be easy, but like again, they're like a puzzle. Gotta first recognize um, covalent compounds, which we'll keep practicing that and get used to that. Uh, you can have your periodic table close by. It can really give you a lot of information if you're stuck on what to name. And then, of course, you really need this sheet because if you flip, I asked you to print this out earlier in the course. You can see now that it's got the Latin prefixes, which if you just watched the video, then you're like, oh, okay, you don't have to memorize those. They're on this sheet. You can write them down if your notes if you would prefer. But I'm going to leave this open here in case I get stuck on what some of the prefixes might be. And I'm going to use my periodic table. Now I know from this sheet that these are all covalent compounds. And because if I look at them, I see an S and an O. They're all two binary, and I see, sulfur and oxygen. So I'm dealing with the nonmetals. So the covalent molecules are going to be between nonmetals, or they can be between a polyatomic and a nonmetal. There's no polyatomics in these that I was having you practice on. Okay, so let's just start with the first one. So it says SO3, so I know from if I go to my periodic table and I look at S, and I know I'm looking at sulfur. So I'm going to write sulfur. And I know the O represents oxygen, but if I wasn't sure, I could always refer to my periodic table. And I'm not going to finish the ending of that because I know there's going to be an "ide" that the ending changes to. So if I look at my molecule here, SO3. Okay, if I'm going to draw a picture of that, one sulfur, three oxygens. So I know the sulfur is monosulfur, and recall that you don't include the mono when it's in the first name, or the first element. The second name, or the second part of the name has three oxygens. If I go to my table here, I know that three is represented by tri. So this would be sulfur tri, and then I change the ending to "ide," sulfur trioxide. Okay, let's jump down here. Let's do BF3. That's a chemical formula. Okay, so I'm just going to draw my picture of BF3 so I get the prefix in the right spot. I like the picture because that can sometimes prevent that from, because you might think three and then you end up writing tri, boron, etc., where it's not. It's just one boron. So I write boron. And again, if I wasn't sure about what the B represented, I could go into my periodic table, find boron. And I see there's three fluorines, so that again is another trifluoride. Okay, and let's go down to the last, well, actually, I'm going to do this one here because this one has a common name, NH3. We actually call that ammonia, but we can name it with this naming system, and it's still correct. So nitrogen trihydride, or we short form for that with ammonia. So there is some that we use common names for. Okay, okay, let's go down now where we've given the name and we got to come up with a formula. So let's pick a one down here. Let's go to 14. So it says phosphorus pentafluoride. So I see a phosphorus and I look on my periodic table and I look for phosphorus. There it is. The symbol's P. So P. And then I see pentafluoride. Fluoride is the fluorine element, P, F, and it says it's penta. So what does penta mean? Penta means five, so there must be five fluorines. Okay, and let's look now. I'll do one more for you. Oxygen let me see, diboron tetrahydride. Okay, so it says diboron. So the first thing I want to do is write down what the symbol, what the name's symbol is. Um, so that's boron, and I see there's a di, so I know there's going to be a certain number of them, but let me just set it up first. Tetrahydride. The hydride is representing hydrogen. Okay, so hydrogen's acting like a covalently bonded to the boron. So it says diboron, so it means there are two borons. So I put a subscript there, and it says tetrahydride. So tetra's four, that means there are four hydrogens. Okay, hopefully this will help you out.